What's going on, Tamers? Welcome to DigiPod, the digital podcast. I'm your boy Varney. Today in the studio with my boy Mike. It's the Mike and Varney show. Y'all already know what it is.
What's
it's happening in the past,
and
it's happening again.
Go. Put your tinfoil hats on. We're here to discuss all the theories. We're ready.
Yo, all right. So, tinfoil hat. Let's talk it. Run me your first theory.
My first theory?
Yeah.
What does it have to be on?
Preferably Digimon.
I don't have one for Digimon, but I did just watch a documentary about the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski, and I did not know this, but I just found out that he was part of MK Ultra when he was in fucking college before he started sending bombs and killing people, bro. The fucking CIA literally turned this man into a fucking serial killer. And it's on, you can read that. You can go onto CIA.gov and fucking read this shit. It's crazy. Now, Ted Kaczynski is all like, no, that had nothing to do with what I did. I mean, come on. I mean, MK Ultra, that's a little wild of a connection. I'm just saying.
I mean, I have no idea what that is.
You know who the fucking Unabomber is? Whatever. Never mind. Doesn't matter.
But if Mike says it's a tinfoil hat theory, I believe him.
It's not even a theory. It's just like crazy shit. Like
obviously that's a fact.
CIA literally fucking made this dude. I mean, he was in, I don't know, just nuts, crazy stuff. Anyways, back to the Digimon.
Let's see. My Digimon tinfoil hat theory. I think I don't fucking know, honestly. Obviously we have to fill this time with something because normally Dan is here to talk about locals.
I can talk about my regionals that I just went to.
We kicked Dan out of here because Dan's a bum and we get to talk all this shit on him now.
Well, we did kick Dan out.
But with having done that, you know, I didn't go to locals and Mike went to a regionals, but he went to a One Piece regionals. So like y'all are going to crucify him if he talks about it.
I did go to a One Piece regional. Also, there's going to be vlogs posted of that later. So you guys don't even want to hear that shit right now.
So what we're going to kind of take the angle on this pod with, about a year ago, Dan and I did 2 episodes, called it the Quick and Dirty Beginners Masterclass. By the time you guys are seeing this episode, last week's episode is titled The Beginners Masterclass to Competitive Play. And in that we talked about the advent of, do you need secret rares to compete? And we're going to kind of keep along that lines because at the time of this recording, it is BT21 release week. It releases on Friday, so in about 3 days. And with newer players coming in, I want players to kind of have a good jumping on point for us, but also good knowledge to kind of, you know, whatever it is that they want to do, can figure things out. So yeah, we're just going to take that angle. We're going to see where it ends up. I don't know where it's going to end up. And if you guys have anything that you want to be discussed in further depth, first of all, join the Discord because you can talk with us there. But also just let us know in the comments.
Yeah. So this has the potential to be the greatest podcast episode ever, or an absolute shit show.
You want a shit show? I got you.
Yeah. So I feel like Dan's the mediator that usually keeps us on track and focus or something. Dan's not here. So I have no idea how the fuck this is going to go. But I'm excited for it.
I got you. So let's see. I got a controversial I don't have any. So.
All right,
I already went over my controversial take last week. I would say beginner. Hello. Welcome to the Digimon TCG 2020. It's nice to see you here. Shakes hand.
Can I just say that I kind of hate that it's the Digimon card
TCG
game 2020. Why?
Yeah, I know. I hate that shit.
I understand that it booted in 2020. Again,
I know. Like, I hate calling it that. I just call it the Digimon card game.
Yeah, like at this point, can we just drop that 2020?
Welcome to the Digimon card game. Shakes hand. I'm Varney. I'm the host of DigiPod, and this is my co-host Mike. And we want you to know, beginner, fellow beginner, or if you're an intermediate player, hello. But leave some tips for the beginners in the comments, and also advanced players. We want you to know that you can play this game, and you can play it at any level you want, and you can have fun. You most definitely can. The first thing that you should do is you should hop on to the TCG Plus app, and you should find yourself a locals. And I want you to keep something in mind about locals. Locals is a place for you to go and have fun. Locals is a place for you to make friends, they say like, oh, you make some of the friends that last longest time for you in high school and blah, blah, blah. I have no friends from high school. Well, my friends are from elementary school.
I have a lot of friends from high school still, I feel like.
I have only friends from elementary school. Now, that being said, I went to a nice 30 some, not even 30. There was no more than 30 kids in my single grade classroom, middle school and elementary school. And then I would say approximately 60% of us went to the same high school. So we stuck in our cliques, but also we were, for lack of a better wording, we were a bunch of minorities, and we went to a high school where there were not a bunch of minorities. Our graduating class was probably, 90% white, right? Maybe 80%, but very large, predominantly white. So we stuck to ourselves, and I thought I made a lot of good friends in high school, but things happen, you drift apart, yada yada. This isn't, we're not talking about any of that shit. I'm just stating facts. I have went to locals for both Card Fight. Well, let me talk about Card Fight first. I went to locals for Card Fight. I met a friend that I did have in high school. He only went there for maybe, I don't even remember. It's so long ago. That was like 10 years ago for me. I can't remember, but I was like, oh my goodness, I haven't seen you in forever. And we hit it off, and he introduced me to his friend group, and I'm still friend with those people to this day. It was a fantastic place. It was so much fun. And then I got into Digimon, and I met this dumb fuck right across from me, and the other dumb fuck who's in good old Texas right now. And obviously, we have a podcast together. We've known each other for the last at least 3, if not almost 4 years. I get invited to the cookouts, years. Which is cool. I'm black, so I'm invited to the cookouts anyways, but
I'm spicy white, as Dan would call me. I'm spicy white according to Dan. So,
but I made some of my great friends from Digimon locals. Locals is a place for you to find people and make some of the fucking best friends that you can have, because you guys are fucking doing something that you both enjoy, and you're having a lot of fun fucking doing it. Am I right? So
yeah, no, locals. Absolutely. We've even met really good friends now at this point from other local scenes. We're all good friends with those people too. We've expanded our network. At this point, I have friends from New York. I have friends from Connecticut. I have friends from New Jersey, all just from playing card games. Yeah,
exactly. Locals is a fun place to be. If locals are not fun for you, if the environment isn't fun, if the people are toxic, that's not the locals for you. Or alternatively, that person shouldn't be in that locals. And I say that because we had a rotten egg in our locals. He ended up quitting because he called Dan toxic, and by association, he called me toxic.
Dan is toxic. Just to be fair.
But in reality, this person, not gonna say his name, he was the toxic one, because he's ruined not just one, not just two, not just three, but every card game community that he's been a part of. And ever since he left, everybody else has been cool, we've been a great locals. Would love for us to fucking be bigger, but even just the small, knowing each other and talking bullshit like we talking fucking bullshit yesterday and today, that's just fun, So if locals aren't fun for you, get yourself a new one. Don't even fret it, When you find yourself a locals, don't get screwed like I did. Let me tell you about how I got screwed. Making deals, not knowing anything in card games. Before I do that, Mike, how, I guess you're a little bit, you have a different perspective from me because you were playing Yu-Gi-Oh with Dan and them at Northampton. So you already, you were more like, you were friends who were then playing card games rather than like you were playing card games first and then you became friends. But like when it came to like trading, making deals, and buying cards and such, or even selling cards, how did you first know like how to price your cards? Like right before you knew any of that stuff, whether it's Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic or whatever?
Yeah, so well, I got lucky because I grew up playing Magic, and Magic always had and to be fair, also before I even played Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh or anything, my dad owned a card shop. So I knew how to price cards, comics, and everything from a young age just because of my dad. I knew how to, there used to be buying like buyer guide magazines and stuff that you would get each month, eBay pricing. But regardless of all that, let's fast forward to my teenage years. Channel Fireball. I used to buy, like, they were pretty reliable for like pricing cards, buying cards, all that stuff. And then eventually TCG Player became huge. Before TCG Player, I think Yu-Gi-Oh players at one point were using like Troll and Toad. Troll and Toad fucking sucks. Don't use Troll and Toad. But TCG Player is really when it became easier to buy cards, sell cards, check pricings of cards. For me, that opened up a lot of doors because there was no more, how much is this card really worth, right? I'm sure everyone from their childhood at some point, they probably collected Pokemon cards, even if they weren't into TCG games, right? And I'm sure that they made some terrible trades like, I'll trade you my first edition Shadowless Blastoise for your Psyduck. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. People are making bad trades all the time and not even realizing it. So, like, that's a ripoff, but you're a kid. You don't know what you're giving away.
You don't know, and you kind of don't care because, you're kids and you're having fun.
Exactly, yeah. So, for me, it was like I kind of always had an idea. But for new players, my biggest recommendation is we have so many easier resources now to access and see things. Join the Facebook groups for whatever card game you're going to be end up playing. Join the buy sell marketplaces, and the rule of thumb for pretty much any card game I've ever played at this point is anywhere from like 80 to 90% TCG Player is like where you want to be buying, selling cards from. Trading cards, I feel like trading cards is kind of just like, you want to obviously, go off of the value of the cards, but sometimes like it's a card that I need, I don't really care about the value that I'm trading for it. Obviously, I'm not going to trade like $100 card for like a $20 card still, but I'll trade a $25, $30 card for a $20 card if it's something I really need and I'm looking for, right? I think I just care less about that stuff.
Yeah. So when I had been in the card games for a minute, but I never really I didn't have locals or anything until I started playing Card Fight. And there was a person who played Future Card Buddy Fight, if you guys know what that card game is. And he was
you're just combining words at this point, dude.
I mean, that's
Future Card Buddy Fight?
Future Card Buddy Fight, baby. Yep.
It's not even real.
He was selling some cards and I didn't know any better, but he told me we had played some games and I tested out a deck. It was me and my boy. We both didn't know any better. And I liked this one deck and I was like, yo, how much for this deck? And he was like, $250. And I was like, I guess that sounds reasonable. I don't know.
Oh no.
I didn't have, I trusted him. He seemed trustworthy. I hadn't heard anything bad about him. And, he was he was like one of a handful of guys who played the game. So I was like, okay, I mean, I'll take your word for it. My deck, I think over time, like my deck ended up holding. So Future Card Buddy Fight is dead now, first of all. It was killed off so maybe like 3 months after me wanting to play the game. I think my deck held up in terms of like dead card game value, but my friend's deck did not. He paid $150 for his deck, and his deck, when I priced it out on TCG Player after learning about TCG Player, was worth maybe about $80.
Ooh.
So yeah, I was like, I don't know how much I got overcharged, but I did.
Hey, the extra money there was the price of putting it together for you, buddy.
Right, exactly. And the sleeves and the deck bucks.
Yeah.
I didn't know any better, but then I learned about TCG Player at some point, and that's when I was like, oh, okay, cool. Because I used to buy cards from the shop too, and I didn't really know how they price cards. I just knew that they had cards priced, and I was just like, I'll just buy the card. Yeah, it's whatever. Then I learned about TCG Player, and we learned a lot. I want to share with you guys something that you might not know, and I want to share this with you guys because I hate when people don't know. You should have all the information you need to make an informed buying decision. This is the TCG player fees. These are the fees that as a seller, you are charged for, selling on TCG player. Most people who are selling cards, if they have a TCG account, they're right here. They are a marketplace seller, level 1 to 4 account. Level 5 is reserved for brick and mortars. That means that everybody who has a TCG player account is getting charged a 10.25% marketplace commission fee, no fees here, and then they get charged a 2.5% PayPal or credit card fee plus 30 cents, right? So if we do the math on that, right, let's just do the math real quick. 10.25% plus 2.5%, that is 12.75% paid in fees. If you sell a $100 card, then you are clearly losing $12.75 plus or minus, which way you look at it, 30 cents. So you're coming out of a $100 transaction on TCG Player with $86.95. The same person on the market, on the Discord buy, sell trade, Facebook buy, sell trade, who is selling a card at 15% is losing an additional $1.95. The generally accepted discount, so to say, you can call it a discount for selling from me to you, is 15%. 10% is like the I don't like to frame it this way, but I don't have a better way to frame it. 90% TCG player is the I'm trying to be greedy and I'm trying to get as much money as possible. 85% is the standard. It is the de facto standard. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And 80% is the generous. I don't really care. It's 80%, and then obviously for me, I give the homies at least 25%, if not fucking 35% off of the TCG player price.
Absolutely, bro.
So keep that in mind as you buy, as you sell. There's nothing wrong with you charging 90% if you want to. I'm just saying.
And to go into it further, I think the reason 85% is the more accepted term is because when you go on TCG player for the $100 card, right? So it's $100 and then 10% fees, plus the shipping is typically included on cards like that, right?
Right.
So you go down to 85% because now it's 15% off. That should cover the shipping and it should cover the 10% fee, which is why you
psych. Nobody says that. It's always 85% plus shipping.
Plus shipping, yeah.
For what it's worth, shipping.
Bro, now people are getting real fucking pissing me off this shit when they're like, "Oh, G&S fee not included." Which, by the way, against terms and services of PayPal, just so you guys know.
Thank you for bringing that up. Let's talk about PayPal real quick. Hold on. Let me look at the camera.
You yap real quick from it. I just gotta go blow my nose.
I got you. Let me put this at a good distance. The only way you should ever pay somebody over the internet for a card, if you do not know them personally, is through PayPal, goods and services. If they tell you that they don't want to deal through PayPal, goods and services, you skirt the fuck away, all right? Don't even entertain it. If they tell you, oh wait, can you send a PayPal friends and family? Skirt. Are you my friend? Nope. Are you my family? Nope. Skirt.
Yeah, literally never do that. Also, just so you know, if you're sending things friends and family, you're taking a hit.
Yes. So that's a good point. We'll get there in just a second. Venmo has a goods and services option. Spoiler, they're owned by PayPal. So as long as you're paying through some sort of services option, you're good. What that gets you, let me explain to you what PayPal buyer and seller protection, all right? I know a lot of people bitch and like, oh, PayPal doesn't do anything good for me, yada, yada, yada. No, you're a fucking idiot. That's why I'm sorry. PayPal buyer protection, what it does for you is if you don't get your card, you get your fucking money back. If you spend $250 on a Zafagamon signed card, it's not $250. If you spend $250 on a Gaiamon signed card from BT21, and you send that money, goods and services, if your seller ships out that card and they don't ship that shit with tracking because they're a fucking idiot, and it doesn't arrive to you, you get your money back. If they send that card out with tracking and that card, let's say it arrives, but it's damaged, generally you would go through shipping claims first. But depending on what you and depending on what you and the seller agree upon, you are able to get your money back. If the state of the card is not in the agreed upon, condition, if they sent you something and it was supposed to be near mint and you get it and it looks like it's fucking heavily played and they don't want to give you your money back, even though you want to ship the card back, you can get your money back. It protects you, the buyer, but it also protects you, the seller. And let me tell you why, because I speak from experience. I have been a seller for years. I don't know how people get into trouble on PayPal. I'll be honest. I have dealt in PayPal in at least 10 years. I have bought not just trading cards, I have bought computer components off of Reddit, hardware swap. I have bought tons of computer components, tons of different types of shit. I've bought server fucking hardware off of Reddit, and I've paid through all of it through PayPal goods and services, and I've never once been screwed over. The one time I did have to use my goods and services seller protection was in an instance where somebody tried to scam me because they messaged me as a third party trying to sell me a card that they were buying from someone else, or something like that. Basically, what ended up happening is the person shipped the card. I was talking to person A. Person A was talking, I was talking to person B, and person B was talking to person A. I gave person B my shipping address and everything, and I paid person B. Person A paid person B paid person A, gave them their shipping address. Person A shipped the card to person B, and then so I gave my shit to. I'm sorry, I don't remember how it works. I'll have to come up with for you guys another time. But just know that at the end of the day, what happened was I didn't get the card, and the person who scammed the both of us got the card and stopped talking to me. Come to find out, I had like a fucking detective call me from fucking Michigan, Sterling Heights Police Department, because it was like a fucking, I think like a $2,000, almost $3,000 purchase of graphics cards. And I was like, yeah, I never fucking got the card. I don't know what to tell you. It's fucking delivered to Michigan. What the fuck do you want me to say? And he was like, oh, I see. So, and he explained to me what happened. I wish I could explain it the way he did, but I was like, so that's what happened. That was good for me. Oh, I sold it to somebody. That's what it was. That's why I said seller protection. They never got the card, and then they said I didn't ship it to them, but I did. And once I showed PayPal, yo, look, this is what's up. This is what happened. They were like, all right, you're good. You don't need to pay them back. I've never gotten into trouble with PayPal. If you're doing the things that you should be doing on PayPal, you should be good. If you deal with scummy buyers and sellers, like that is unfortunate and they will fuck you up. But at the same time, it's why you document everything. Keep your receipts, take your pictures. If you're shipping something out, like I ship everything out, especially like I pulled an Overflowing Affection alternate art for Gundam. If you don't know how much that card was, that shit was fucking $800 close to. I sold that motherfucker promptly. And I sold it for $650. And when I was selling the card, I took a picture of the card. And then I took a picture of the two top loaders I put it between, as well as the top loader that I put it in. And then I took a picture of that going into the package. And then I took a picture of the package. And I said, here's your stuff. I took a picture of every step along the way. Because first of all, that's like $700 you deserve to get those pictures. And then I shipped it out and I sent them a picture of the label, whatever. I understand when you're doing this as like a business, that's not feasible. That's fine. But keep in mind that there are businesses who also don't have problems with PayPal. So just keep in mind like the people you're dealing with, as well as like,
I even take it a step further. Sometimes I make my girlfriend Gabby, who supports all of my nerdy hobbies, I make her take videos of me packaging cards sometimes. If I'm selling like when I was selling all those SPs and shit and like a bunch of just my more expensive cards, I was like, yeah, can you just videotape me packaging this up? Because I do not need a chargeback from PayPal or my PayPal account getting shut down. I just do too much shit with PayPal. You know how annoying it'd be if my PayPal account got suspended?
Right,
and
I agree.
I couldn't use it for like buying any like Steam games or random shit that I'd be using it for.
Exactly. And it's just generally like you generally won't get fucked over. I don't work on the, oh, well, somebody could fuck me over, therefore I won't approach. I work on the, I'm trusting that somebody won't fuck me over. And when they do, then at least I have my ass covered approach. I've been good this far, 10 plus years doing PayPal. I have sold a lot of shit and I've bought a lot of shit and I've been good. So take my word for it. You know, take my word for that. Take it for what it is. Never, just don't pay anything else but goods and services. Please, I implore you.
I don't care if it is the most trusted seller ever. Do not pay fucking friends and family. Ever.
Mike had a situation with our boy Cliff where he shipped him a fucking Dragon Mode SP. Now, obviously, they sent money friends and family because they're legitimately friends.
Yeah.
But if Mike wasn't a good friend, because Mike offered to give him the money, Mike ended up filing a claim through USPS and got the money back.
Yep.
But if Mike wasn't a good friend, like if Cliff and Mike were anything less than like good friends, if they were like, oh, well, like, you know, he's, you know, I know him from local, so to say.
I could have just stole the money. Yeah. I can just.
Right. He could have just been like, oh, sorry to hear that, bud. I don't know what to tell you.
Do you know what saved my ass when I filed that claim and how I got my money back? Because I took videos.
That you took pictures before you sent it out.
When Cliff sent me that fucking photo of the card absolutely fucking mangled, I felt so bad. I felt so bad.
It was like, bro, what the like? Bro, how did you guys do this?
I can tell you exactly how it happened. When they put it on whatever conveyor belt or whatever, it must have gotten trapped in the conveyor belt, and that's what destroyed it. Thankfully, I don't want to say thankfully, the Dragon Mode SP was pretty damaged. The Fighter Mode SP, which was like double the price, maybe even triple the price at that point, was completely fine. So, but the Dragon Mode SP died for its sins, for sure. But yeah, and I was able to get the money back for the Dragon Mode SP, and I was able to send it to him because I had evidence. I was like, yeah, that's not how the card was shipped. This is how it was dropped off. This is how it was packaged. Blah blah blah. Especially
because that was, you know, at the time maybe like $160. So
it was expensive.
Again, we're talking about cards that are, it's one singular card. Like think of it from this perspective. If you're obviously, you know, we're talking from the seller's perspective, but if you're thinking from the buyer's perspective as a seller, how do I want this card received? You know what I hate? I hate when my card is sitting in an envelope between some paper and it's just chilling like this.
Yeah.
And I'm I don't care if that card costs 50 cents. I ordered a card from you. Can you please at least?
That was the other thing that killed me with that SP, right? Because
can you please put it in a shipping shield or something?
Yeah.
Like just, when I ship some cards, sort of rigidity.
I use a bubble mailer usually. I use a bubble mailer when I ship cards. So not only was the SP in a bubble mailer, it was in an inner sleeve,
in a top loader,
an inner sleeve, an outer sleeve, and a top loader.
Yeah, that's why I started fucking.
Rest in peace.
Started like double stacking like all my expensive cards. I do 3. I put the card in one and then I stack one on the inside and outside because I just don't trust. I just don't trust USPS to not mangle it. But yeah, like that's what I do. Another thing, keep in mind, if you're buying a card that's like super expensive, make sure you ask your buyer or your seller, about insurance, because not everybody will put insurance on the card. And most shipping companies only cover up to $100. If you want anything more, they have to add. You can totally ask, and that's fine. If they have a problem with it, you shouldn't be buying from them, because if something happens that's outside of either of your control, if they don't want to deal with that, then they're just not somebody that you should buy from. Just be smart. You know, there are a lot of red flags that you can see when buying from somebody. Recently, what we've been seeing a lot of is the photoshopped cards. This fucking janky ass surface that they go on TCG Player and they just paste card. And it's like,
it's so bad.
Who the fuck did you think you were fooling? Like,
you know, it's sad is the amount of people that they do fool with that.
Right, exactly. And in those instances, you have paid PayPal goods and services unless they tried to finagle you into paying friends and family and you believed them and you did, and then you got fucked. And that's why you don't buy friends. Goods and services all the way. While we're on the topic of finances in card games.
Oh God.
Let me also tell you guys about why you shouldn't buy the pre-sales. You're a new card game player and you are sitting here doing BT21 and you are looking at TCG Player with all of these pre-sale cards. Oh my goodness, what is pre-sale? Let's go take a look, shall we, Mike? We are in the BT21 release period. It is World Convergence and all these cards have pre-sale. Oh my goodness, the prices look fantastic. 16 cents, 46 cents. That's pretty cool. That's pretty nifty. Let's go look at from high to low. $500 for a Galacticmon SP. Wow. I expect that card to be more. I should probably pick it up. There are two reasons why you shouldn't buy the pre-sales. Number one, pre-sale periods are not guaranteed. No order on TCG Player is guaranteed. Sellers can cancel your order for whatever reason they want. If this, it's happened in the past, this Lanamon right here, it's okay, right? But let's say you think $200 is a good price for this card. You buy this card at $200. And on release, this card then shoots up to $400. That seller who hasn't shipped out your card yet, because as they say, this product is a pre-sale item with an estimated shipping date of $425, they can cancel your order and they can go relist the card. Or they can just hold on to it and not.
If they do cancel your order, what you should do is you should find that seller's name and publicly shame them.
Yes.
I'm not even, that's just being honest. You should absolutely publicly shame them.
I don't disagree with you at all. I hate that shit. The other reason you should not buy the pre-sale is because generally speaking, and I have to say this, generally speaking, all cards are at their lowest point for a period of time at set release. And I will tell you why. I will give you the science as to why that is. Because you may be sitting there thinking, well, let's say, look, I can pick up Tai Kamiya secret rares for $15. Surely they won't get too much cheaper, right? Let's take a look at something. Tai has 24 listings, right? 24 listings, and it's from Books and Brews, Symphony Games, Top Deck. Oh, what do all these stores have in common? Let's hover. Oh, look, they're all certified hobby shops. Oh, look, they're all gold star sellers. Mike, do you know what that means?
Whoa.
Outside of this weird one right here. That guy's not, and that's weird because he shouldn't. He shouldn't, but he is allowed to for whatever reason. Pre-sale periods are only for certified hobby shops. I, as a seller, I sell on TCG Player. I'm a level 4 seller. I'm the highest you can be without being a certified hobby shop. And I cannot list I can list my cards in TCG Player, but they do not go live until the pre-sale period is over, right? That is a travesty. The best example to look at for a card like this is Medieval Gallant. Base rarity, because it's the most recent. When this card first came out, on release, it was $41. I don't think I can get too granular, but $41 is what that card debuted at. On release weekend, you could pick that card up for $41. And obviously now it is $95. But $41 is what you could have picked it up at. This Friday, that tie could very well drop to $10. If you were buying a playset, you spend $60 now, you could have spent $40. If you wait, you could have saved $20. There is no hurt in waiting unless you are absolutely, positively, no doubt sure that this card is going to skyrocket in price. Did you think the Medieval is going to skyrocket in price? You were right, but you were wrong about how long it took. You could have bought the card on release for $40 and you could have saved yourself from spending an extra $50 on the card right now. Just wait. It's not that tough. When pre-sale period is over, everybody gets to release their cards. This Gachmon, let me give you another good example. Sunarizamon, the rookie for Pyramidi, $10, right? Unfortunately, the pre-sale price isn't listed, but I can tell you that the pre-sale price for this card was closer to $20. Exactly what the Gachmon is at, what the Vemon is most likely sitting at. Yep, $19. They're gonna drop to $10. Sometimes they drop as low as $7 to $8. 10 is a good price point. If you wait, you will be rewarded. The only time that you won't is in a case like this little motherfucker right here, who was on release. Now, mind you, this card is old, right? The BT7. We're on BT21.
To be fair, this card was even more expensive.
It was. But on release, on pre-release, this card was maybe like, I don't know.
It was cheap as shit. It was like
10 bucks maybe.
Bucks, yeah.
And on release, this card was like $60. Unfortunately, I don't have the pricing data for all that, but it was super expensive. People are like, damn, I should have bought the pre-sales. That is the one instance out of, that was BT7, we're on BT21. That was the one instance out of over 14 set releases that you should have bought the pre-sales. Yes, there are other little instances here and there. But if you want to play that game of buying the pre-sales, at least be smart about it. Look at the pricing data, look at the meta of the card, and keep in mind, what do I think this card will end up at? More importantly, say to yourself, how much do I really want to spend? I love Gaimon. Would I pay $250 for that SP right now? Absolutely the fuck not. I know he's like $150 at most.
I can't even fucking pretend that I absolutely need that right there. Yeah. He knew immediately.
Is this worth $450? I love this card as well, and I want to get this card. I am not paying $450 for it. My comfortability for price for this, I would say $250. That's about where I'm comfortable with.
I'm gonna go and say $200 is what I'll pay for it. I need a play set of them bitches, so that's gonna be rough.
I have some fantastic friends and a fantastic circle. You get that as you guys play card games. This card, this Medieval Gallantmon right here, that's $600 on release. Let's take a look here. Card was about $426. At the time, nobody expected that card to rise as high as it did. I was, based on the price of previous SPs, the most I wanted to pay for Medieval Gallantmon was, I would say, I think about $250 to $250. I got this Medieval Gallantmon and a Gallantmon X from a friend for about, I want to say somewhere between $450 to $500. Obviously, again, friend, we give each other good deals all the time. This card on release, this card is just kind of hovered $500 to $600. But that Medieval now obviously is up to $600. I still don't, I would faster sell it. I'm not selling it, but I would faster sell it for $600 than buy it for $600. The most I would pay for this, $350, and that's pushing it. I think the most I've paid for a card, I can't even say. I guess Magna X is the most I've paid for a card.
I was gonna say Magna X would be the most.
But that was a partial trade and cash deal. I think it was like $600 in total value. I think I did $450 cash and $150 in trade value. That was me trying to pull a playset, which is, that card's out of stock now.
Jesus Christ.
I got two of these cards. If anybody wants, I'll sell you both for 3 Gs. 3 Gs, right?
Jesus.
This is insane. That's crazy. That being said, obviously we're talking about high rarity cards. In talking about high rarity cards, I think that just drives home the point that if you're not in a rush, just fucking wait. Because if you look at the price of Medusamon SR, she's $5.40.
Yeah, that card's gonna be even cheaper.
Let's do a better one. Mike said he wants to pick up Gaiomons, which are currently $550. And he said, I think $550 is a good price for it, but I'm just gonna wait. Because on Friday, they could very well be fucking $2, $3.
Correct. Yep.
And Mike, you had saved what? About, let's say, anywhere from like $8 to $12.
Yeah, it's not a ton of money, but you got to be smart with it, right? Like, all right, so let me put it this way for especially newer players. Card games can be a very expensive hobby, but they are only as expensive as you're willing to pay, right? You don't have to spend all this money on card games. And I think that that's something important to remember. And I think it's a good segue. When you are starting off, especially as a brand new player, I'm not even saying that you're coming from other games. I'm saying you are a brand new player. Digimon is your first TCG game. Do not get caught up in what a top tier meta deck playing fucking Medieval Gallantmon, and Shine Greymon Ruin Mode and Protoform and like, do not get caught up in prices like that. When you start this game, right, or any card game, you go into it and you can just play a bad deck. Honestly, you don't have to start off playing in a really good deck. Just play some bad decks to start and find out what you actually like. I can't tell you the amount of times in my card game career where I have cope trained, hype trained, whatever. Maybe I was feeling FOMO and I was like, I need to play this deck right now. I want it. I love the cards. I love the art. Oh, this is going to be so fun to play. I spend hundreds of dollars on this shit. I don't even end up liking the deck. I can't tell you the amount of times that has happened to me in card games, which, fine, because you can sell the deck and make some money back, or maybe even make more money depending on how you play it, right? But you don't have to go through that stress. Just play some bad decks, or even better than that, play some decks that are still good, but not as expensive. You don't have to pay $60, $90, $100 per card. It's not feasible in my opinion. It's not right. And you might not even like it. I have
taken it from somebody who's also done it.
Yeah.
More than me. Many times.
Yeah.
The one that comes to mind is Shine Greymon. Savers is one of my favorite Digimon series. I was in love with the concept of Shine. I thought I was in love with the concept of Shine. I really liked Shine in BT3 or BT4 when I started. So when I saw Marcus in Shine, I was like, yes, in there. I got my alts. We were set. I went and I played at the locals. And I said, what the fuck? Ew, I hate this shit. And I promptly listed that shit up. Alts and everything. Because I fucking hated it. And that wasn't the first deck I did it with. And it damn sure wasn't the last deck I did it with. To Mike's point, I, did recoup money. But I also spent time and effort in putting it together and trying to find. And I was like, oh, well, I don't know if I'm going to need, 4 alts. Because I might not play it at 4, but I'm going to pick up 4 alts. That's, it's a bad rabbit hole to go down.
And you know what? Let's say you are absolutely fully, and I'm going to pick an expensive deck. Let's say you are absolutely fully convinced Magnamon X is the deck you want to play. That is it. You are so set on it, right? But you don't have the money for it right now. You know what you do? You just grab the pieces gradually. You start off playing a very shitty version of it at locals without Magnamon X's. You start off playing the old Magnamon X from, what was that, BT... I don't even know.
BT9.
9?
BT9.
Okay. Yeah. You start off playing the old shitty version, right? And then, you know what? Once a month, you buy a Magnamon X for, what are they, like $70 right now?
Hold on, real quick. Let me pause you there. I'm looking at this old Magnamon X. Somebody tell me why this motherfucker has one listing at $7, and then every listing after there's 4 listings, like 4 listings at like 15 and then 25. Who the fuck is buying this card?
You don't play old Magnamon X either now, apparently. What the hell are you even on? That's crazy.
It's 3 light played copies at $5.58. And then it becomes $15. What the? Oh, sorry. I'm looking at the old. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I forgot. I'm looking at the old. Sorry. We're talking base ready. That card base ready is cheap as shit. It's $1.
Okay.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
So then anyways, once a month you buy your $60 Magnamon X. Whatever. What is it? It's 60 or 70 right now, right?
It's about like 60.
That. Okay. So once a month you buy a Magnamon X for $60. In 4 months you have your deck.
Yeah.
Right?
That's just $60 a month, right? It's not make or break. Like if you look at it in this way, how much do you spend on a meal at McDonald's, right? If you spend, let's say about $15 with tax.
I'm a big bag, bro. I spent $30 at Taco Bell the other day by myself.
I mean, me and you
Taco
both,
Bell's
bro.
Cheap. You know how hard it is to get $30 at Taco Bell, bro? That's crazy.
So one thing I love about Taco Bell is how much food you can fucking get for $30 for one person.
The meal's not over when I'm full. It's over when I hate myself. That's my motto.
I feel that. That's $30. So the average person, you spend about $15. That is 4 McDonald's meals, right? Like if you want to look at it in that aspect, we're not financial advisors. We're not giving you financial advice. I don't know why people say that shit, but like I'm gonna say it. I'm not the first person to talk about making smart card game decisions.
Of cards behind me. Do you know how much money of cards that is? It's embarrassing.
So I bought 2 cases of BT21. I bought 2 cases because when I had to place my pre-order 6 months in advance. So I thought, oh, let me just get 2 cases just to be sure. When I had to pay for this, I was like, ew, I don't want to open this case.
This is one of my One Piece decks right here. I have a couple on my table right now, right next to me. This is my One Piece deck. I don't even want to know the amount of money I've spent on this deck. But it's max rarity. I'm getting alt arts, whatever. Right. So it's different. But so I'm definitely not a financial advisor. I make very poor financial decisions.
And neither the fuck am I. But budget. Yeah. It's very easy to do if you put your mind to it. Exactly. Like Mike said, $60 a month. If your card game budget, let's say your card game budget is $60 a month. So buying a Magna X buying one Magna X is out of the question because that's your card game budget for the whole month. You don't have to spend it all at one time.
Nope.
You can cut your budget down to, let's say 45 and then just say 15. Yeah, it's going to take you a couple months, but let's put it this way. If you're not aiming to play competitively, or if it's not that big a deal, first of all, let's look at that. If you're not aiming to play competitively and it's not that big a deal, who are your locals? Did you say to your local friends, yo, this card's too expensive for me. Do you guys mind if I proxy it?
Yeah.
I know they do that shit all the time in Magic because...
True. Well, EDH.
I've seen the price of the Magic cards.
Right? If your budget's $60 a month, play the shitty version of the deck, right? Just play it. Learn it. And then the next month, you use $60 to spend. You pick up 1 Magna X. You add it into the deck. You start changing around to the new version, right? And then the next month, you get 2. And then, by month 3, you have 3 Magna X's. You're basically just playing the deck normally at that point with no issues, right? Like by month 4, your deck's complete. You know, I personally, I'm very stubborn. So while I may go out and spend hundreds of dollars on alt arts for cards, I fucking refuse. There's I've been playing a lot of One Piece recently just because it's what I've been on. There's a fucking super rare that's like $40. And I have principles. That's the base art, by the way. Just the base rarity. I refuse to pay money for that card. I won't do it. So I've just been not playing that deck at all. I just played on the sim or something. I refuse to pay money for that card. And a lot of people feel that way, like Protoform right now. If I didn't have Protoforms, I would not be playing decks with Protoforms because I refuse to pay $40 for a super rare. That's just me.
Okay, but also counterpoint real quick. When we look at the price of, super rares and stuff, I also gauge the value of a card like Magna X differently than the value of a card like Protoform, or in a better example, the value of a card like Protoform versus Medieval. Because Protoform you can play in multiple decks, but it's not as wide. But Magna X, that's for one deck, just one deck, maybe 2, depending on what the fuck you're doing.
Well,
but like Medieval, if you're like, I'm playing Digimon and I know I'm playing Digimon, I love Digimon, is $90 for a card that you can play in whatever deck you want. Like, I'm not saying it's not expensive, but what I'm saying is spending $90 knowing that you can take that card into every deck that you play.
My issue with Medieval, right, and especially talking with new players, is like, okay, if they're on a budget, I personally, in my opinion,
telling them to buy that card. Nope.
You don't buy that card. It's not worth it.
I'm also not telling you to buy that card because you don't even know what the fuck that card does. You don't know what that card does. You don't know why it's good. You don't know why it's being played. So why buy it? All you know is that this card does something and that everybody's playing it. That's why it's so expensive. But like, you don't actually understand why that card is $90.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
that's
also
a big thing.
In my opinion, my humble opinion,
the
humblest of opinions, it's just a card game, right? Like, it's just a card game. It's a very good card. Meta warping, some would say. very good. But just be smart with your money. If it's something you can't afford, don't try and buy
Don't
it.
stretch yourself. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Hell no.
Like I said,
absolutely not. Especially in
you're
this
supposed to be playing this game for fun. So if you aren't reaching out to your locals and saying, yo, like, do you guys mind if I proxy this card or can I borrow this card?
Yeah, bro.
To play?
That's an even better point. Once you get established, you start making friends with people. Dude, even better, you start making friends with people. You're interested in playing a deck. Hey, I saw you were playing this deck last week. Are you playing it this week? Would it be okay if I tried it? I've let multiple people borrow decks from me. I've lent cards out. Not everyone's going to be like that, of course. Some people are,
for sure.
They're expensive pieces of cardboard, so I understand that completely. But when you start really making friends with people at a local scene, there's a lot of things I wouldn't do for my friends at this point. Sometimes I've just given cards away and be like, there's nothing I need from you right now. Just in a few months, maybe just get me back with something later, right?
Yeah, straight up.
And obviously not everyone's gonna be like that, but just in general, let's say you are building your deck out and there's one card you just can't get or it didn't come in yet in the mail. And that's the reason you're not going to come to a locals, is because you couldn't build the deck all the way. I promise you there's probably someone there who's going to be able to help you out and let you play that.
Yeah.
Because for a lot of local scenes, having another player show up and be there to play with is more important to me than the cost of a card at this point.
Absolutely.
Having a friend be able to play into the game and not be gatekept by prices, that's come through,
bro.
Borrow the card, give it back to me after the end of locals. As long as you're not fucking bridge shuffling the $100 card I just let you borrow, I think we're okay.
Like a human being, please.
Be a normal person. I bridge shuffle my cards because I'm an asshole, but they're also my cards. So.
Case in point, I have 2 medievals that I was gonna list because fuck $90 for one card. Am I right? I was about to list them shits, but one of the boys was like, "Man, I want to play Zafaga, but I'm not paying for those fucking medievals." I was like, "Well, I would like to get something. I'll give you them for $130, both of them. $65. That's, I don't recall exactly how much off TCG is, but it's like $60 off of getting them together, right? $50, sorry." And he's like, "Damn, I think I'm gonna have to do that, but I'll have to get back to you in a couple weeks." All right, I ain't got no problems. If he came to locals more, I'd have no problems. As a matter of fact, I have just fucking handed him cards and said, "All right, just pay me whenever." And I'm not saying that you should do that, nor that people will do that. What I'm driving home is the point that Mike made about, and the point that I'm trying to make about locals. That's your peeps. That's the people you're playing card games with. We're all there to help one another,
Absolutely.
We want to play the game. We don't want to just. Locals isn't called locals because one person showed up to play against themselves. Locals is locals because multiple people show up to want to play. There are going to be people who want to help you. Me, Mike, and Dan are that people at local. Mike doesn't matter. He's all the way in fucking Virginia.
I don't exist anymore.
But when he was here, we were that people for our locals. It was just, all right, well, whenever you have money or whenever, I don't care. It's really not that big a deal to me. Just, I'm happy you can play the game and I can get rid of shit that I don't want. There's no skin off my back. It's all about fostering community, man. That's really what, you could take that as a life lesson even. Everything is just about fostering
and honestly,
community and better relationships.
One thing I've done with people, if I've had cards they don't have the money for right now, take this card, literally put me on a payment plan, bro. I'll give me $20 a week or $20 every 2 weeks, whatever, when you get paid, and then pay it off eventually. I don't care, dude. Honestly, as long as you know that person, don't do that with random strangers and then get scammed, obviously. Make sure you trust these people. But, that's how I look at it. So,
yeah.
But really, the
expensive cards.
Fuck the expensive cards. My main point is find a deck you like. And if that deck you like, you are convinced it's going to be one of these decks that are more expensive, that's fine. Just build it without the expensive cards right now and then work your way up to it.
Most of the decks. And I say that because we have to apologize in advance if you're like, "Oh, I fucking love Royal Knights." Yeah, sorry, bud. You're going to have to pay to win with that one. because their base rarities are expensive.
Unfortunately, like even like Imperials, I think Pile is still $25 a piece. So
yeah, if you're like, I love Imperial and I want to play Imperial, yeah, sorry, bud, you're
but to be
$25 Pyogemons.
To be fair, it's not good. I mean, it's not that it's bad.
You can play a lesser version of the deck. You can
play Imperial without the BT16 Pyogemons. And you're going to lose a lot more games because BT16 Pyogemon is like one of the best SRs ever, in my opinion, one of the best level 5s ever made. But
I have to agree.
You know, you just play it with the starter deck 9 Imperial Pyogemons for now, and then you just work your way up to.
You could even play with the shitty BT12 Pyogemon.
Yeah. I mean,
they're shitty, but you can still play with them.
If I had to build Pyogemon or Imperial on a budget, I almost said Pyogemon on a budget because let's be honest, this is the deck.
I mean, we call it Imperial, but it's not Imperial, right? It's Pyogemon.
If I had to build Imperial on a budget, what I'm doing is I'm playing 4 starter deck 9 Pyogemons and 2 BT12 Pyogemons, and then every whatever other paycheck every month, whatever your budget is.
I'm not justifying $25 for a Pyogemon, but it's a easier pill to swallow when you say, I want to play Imperial. Fuck, I don't want to spend $100 on Pyogemons. You don't have to spend it at once. You buy one Pyogemon a month.
And literally the rest of that deck is straight up pennies. Just, it's all so cheap. Unless you're playing Hexablaumon. Another expensive card is Hexplow, but
does that make Imperial a budget deck because it's sub 150?
I don't know, so it's a deck that, like, honestly, it's such a good deck, and it's something that I feel like it's obviously we're 5 main sets after this BT16 Pyogemons came out, and the deck is still really good. I feel like I can't say it's budget. However, it is pretty brain dead. As someone who's played the deck forever at this point, it's not a hard deck to learn, and I think you could actually you could probably still do pretty well with just the starter deck 9 Pyogemons, just because the top end of that deck is really good too. Like Imperial Ace is so good still.
Hear me out, though.
Is really good.
If we look at the definition of budget decks, obviously there's a different definition based on what price tier you're thinking. If we're talking about $50 budget decks, absolutely not. No way. But
we're talking $50 budget decks. I'm naming my other favorite deck ever made, which is Hunters.
Hunters, Cross, and part of me wants to say Sakuyamon, but I have to look up the prices to be a little bit sure. It might be a little bit more than 50, but I don't think Sakuyamon Sans Ruin modes eclipses $100. And I have to say Sans Ruin mode. But if we're looking at a sub 150 competitive deck, Imperial is a budget deck. You pay $100 for 4 Pyogemons. You buy 1 Paladin mode for $10, and then you spend maybe $20 on the rest of the cards, and you have your deck. It is a budget competitive deck. If you want to put in a one of Hexablow, that is what? Maybe he's $20.
Bro, no, Hexablow's like $40.
Yeah, there you go. That's expensive. Your 100. That's your 100. If you play your one of Hexablow, that's your $150 budget. But it's a budget, air quote, competitive deck. But yeah, I agree. Hunters, because support just came out for it, but also Cross. Cross is such a slept-on deck. Cross has always been slept on because that deck, its
Cross
SRs
has been slept on because it got hit pretty much on release. Because it got hit
on release, and then it did things here and there. You had Merva Cross, but then it's kind of just like E-Cross 6, that's a really good card. And when you play that deck with Valder Arm, E-Cross 6, that motherfucker is 15 cents.
Yeah, I mean, so honestly,
SR.
And even then, like, so there are other decks, right, that I wouldn't say are tier 1, tier 2 competitive, but they're still good decks. They just aren't played at that level. Like, all right, I truthfully, I have no idea like how good Medusamon is going to be as a deck, right? I don't think anyone really has a clue. I'm not sure. Nope. I think it's gonna probably end up pretty decent, but definitely not like tier 1 or anything.
I think it's gonna be along the same lines as like Pyramidimon. Like
oh wow, this shit like looks like it has potential,
Yeah.
but you need a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. We just don't have the full support for it yet. But like a deck like that, and like that's a cheap deck to just play right now because it just came out. It's not gonna be super expensive.
I think any Liberator deck that isn't named Zafagamon, and the reason I say that is because for Zafaga, I'm sorry, but if you're not playing medievals, you're not playing.
Yep. Just saying.
Zafaga.
Even beyond that, like, okay, let's be real for a sec. Just for a sec. Just not talking on my ass. You could just play like Greymon decks still, and you're not gonna win a fucking championship with it or anything.
People have fun with their Greymon decks.
Absolutely.
And every so often, you see this one random person just playing Black or Gray, and it's like, oh yeah, I mean, it's slow, but it does what it does.
Yeah, I'm just saying the new Gaiamon promo is fucking sick. That whole deck is super cheap. And you can play Black War Gray with that. You could play War Greymon like Rage. You could play War Gray OTK. There's so many variants you could play. You don't have to play this like hyper competitive deck to start. There's a lot of super cheap decks to play.
You can get sweaty if you want, but only get sweaty once you've gotten a feel for the game.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's the point I want to drive home. Is like you don't have to start off paying exorbitant amounts of money for shit.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you really want to play like Gallantmon or
see and those are the decks you'll know by the price tag, right? You'll know when you look up Gallantmon deck list and you see like, oh, like they're running like 3 of this card, and then you read the card. You know, sometimes you read a card, you're like, I don't necessarily know why this card's expensive, like Medieval, right? I don't think it's necessarily clear why Medieval is a $90 card to a newer player. But you look at something like Gallant X, you're like, oh, okay, this is cool. He has this what looks like protection, and he unsuspends and he gets the pop Digimon. Like that makes sense. That makes sense. It kind of justifies the $42 price tag. If you're a Gallantmon stan, you know, unfortunately, you don't play Gallantmon if you're not playing at least 3 Gallantmon X. But
unfortunately, I would like to say I'm sorry to everyone. I talked so much shit on Gallantmon, and I said that Bandai was never going to make that deck good. And unfortunately, they eventually made it good, and that's my fault. I would like to formally apologize to every Gallantmon fan who can't afford the deck anymore.
You can apologize to the Gallantmon fans. Dan has to apologize to the Sakuyamon fans, which on the topic of Sakuyamon, yeah, I think Sakuya X Space Art, yeah, she's $5. I think probably the next most expensive card is your, not looking at rune mode again, your Valder Arm, which is probably another $5. It's $7. And then I think that's all your SRs, because I think everything else in that deck is rare and below. Yellow scrambles that you play at some amount are $3. And your physical trainings are probably around the same price, $4. So you can build Sakuyamon Sans Ruin modes for less than $50 for sure. 7, 14, 21, 28.
Shit, you can fucking play
48. So like $65, $70.
Play Blue Hybrid probably for like $40.
Yeah, you could play Blue Hybrid. Let me give you a better one.
You could be a scumbag.
Pause. My favorite deck to recommend to new players. You know what my favorite deck to recommend to new players is?
Nope. Let's hear it.
Red Hybrid. Fuck Blue Hybrid. Red Hybrid. Because Red Hybrid is your premier aggro deck. It does everything that you want an aggro deck to do. It punches you in the face and it doesn't stop. It just keeps going. And it's got search up the ass, and it's cheap as fuck. Because you know what? And when I talk about Emperor or Red Hybrid, I'm not talking about Ancient Greymon. I'm talking about Emperor Greymon. Because do you know how much your BT12 Emperor Greymon that is so good is? It is a $2 SR. The rest of your cards in that deck are rare and below. You are paying at most $30 for a functioning Red Hybrid list that can be upgraded, because that motherfucking deck gets support like every fucking 4 sets. It got supported BT7 and then BT6 and then BT7 and then BT12 and then BT17 and now BT21. Like, it's never far off because it's a pro tag deck. And True. It's not too far out of anybody's playstyle. Because aggro generally is like the easiest playstyle, you know.
brain dead, just Gober type deck, and you're building that, you can be competitive with it for less than $50.
Absolutely.
Fun
Shit,
deck.
I feel like
too.
Shine Greymon's pretty cheap too, as long as you don't play the rune modes. I can't even.
Yeah. Shine
I don't
Greymon
think-
because
there's,
you're
like, no
paying for
expensive cards, aren't
BT12
there?
Shine, which is actually nope, you gotta take that back. Oh wait, hold
Oh.
on. Let me check out the regional. Hold on, let me check out the regional stamp. Where's the regional stamp? Nope, you gotta take it back, unfortunately.
Mm.
It used to be cheap, and then I think people started coping Shine Greymon again. Base art's at 16. The regional stamp is at 10. So it's still like sub 100. But it's definitely a harder pill to swallow for new
Damn, yeah,
players.
16 now. I just checked. Wow.
Another
To
part
be
about
fair,
this,
in March they were $5 a piece.
yeah, most definitely. Another fair point to make is we talked about finding the locals. If you guys are listening to this podcast, if you've come across this podcast, you should join our Discord. And if you don't like our Discord for whatever reason, I guarantee that you will. But if my guarantee becomes null and void for whatever reason, there are tons of other Discords that you can join. Find a cool set of people that you can talk with online. Because Digimon, I mean, card games in general, they're just a very wide audience. We talk all sorts of shit in our Discord, and people talk all sorts of shit in their other Discords. But you can just pop into Discords and you can find people that you're comfortable asking questions with, that you're comfortable kind of looking at, hey, like, what are you guys doing, or seeing what they're posting, and then going from there. We have people pop in all the time. Saxon just fucking popped in with this fucking bullshit ass Rookie Rush Floodgate deck. Saxon, it doesn't make any sense to me because you can't digivolve you can't digivolve 3/4 of your rookies, and you don't play enough Ukomons. But he made a deck list and he posted it, and people were commenting on it. Golden Prinny was commenting on it, and I saw it and I was like, what the fuck is this? In an endearing way. I mean, if you guys listen to us long enough, you'll know the way that I talk. I text the way that I talk. It's just like you can find a place that you can feel comfortable asking questions and finding out about new decks. You might not have ever thought to pick up Red Hybrid. You might be like, I'm trying to find a cheap deck that I can compete with, and boom, hey, Red Hybrid, right? Or to Mike's point, boom, hey, go play Hunters. That's somewhat a versatile deck in what you're capable of doing, but also some of the pieces that you're capable of playing depending on the way that you want to build it. Quartzmon, I mean, some people don't think Quartzmon is a card anymore, but Quartzmon is still a menace.
Super
it's like a
good
$5 boss monster for
Also just locks out tons of decks still.
exactly shit. Like Quartzmon. Fantastic card. You wouldn't know that though, unless like obviously you're listening to us, and we'll try to let you know as much as possible, but join the Discord community and you can broaden your depth of knowledge. So yeah, just don't spend money that you don't have, but also play decks that you like. Go download. Let me tell you something. The one Discord you should join, the Huang Zero Discord. Why should you join the Huang Zero Discord? Because Huang Zero has a sim. It is called DCGO, stands for Digimon Card Game Online. He is the project runner for DCGO. And in his Discord, he has an entire section dedicated to DCGO. And you will find all support you need for DCGO for finding games and, for downloading the sim and playing it, which is currently, as we are talking, I don't remember what the current public release is. It might still be BT20, but the BT21 release should be coming out soon. If it's not out already, I don't recall. And you can play every deck you want there because there are no restrictions and it's fully automated. So you don't have to worry about knowing all the interactions. It is the perfect way to experiment and learn and test out all the shit that you want without spending any of the money. And if you think that the random matches in there aren't good enough because people are assholes, that's okay. You're part of the Huang Zero Discord. Post in the channel that you're looking for somebody. You can pop into our Discord and say anybody want to play DCGO or any other Discord you find. That's the beauty of online play. Speaking of online play, if you're wanting to get into a little bit more competitive play, or if you want to have fun, whichever it is, doesn't matter. We
welcome both parties, you should join TBL. What is TBL? TBL is the Tamers Battle League. It is the premier Wednesday and Friday night events where Dan and I, as the GMs of our respective shows, Ignition and Overdrive, host events where we see champions and players compete to take down champions. What do you get for taking down a champion? You get a 50% refund on your entry fee. You also get a participation pack if you finish the tournament. Participation pack from Store Tournament Volume 2, 2025. That is the current Store Tournament pack. That's right. We have those packs and they are available. Winner gets some packs. They get some sleeves and some other stuff. It's a fun place to be. It's $10 entry and you play through webcam. You can join our Discord and find out more information. Our first event is tomorrow. By the time you guys see this, the first event will already have happened. There will already have champions crowned, but there will be more chances for you to be crowned champion. Trust me, you will want to be the champion. So go join the Discord, play in the TBLs. They're a fun place to be. Mike, what other advice do we have for newer players? We went over pricing.
Make
we
sure
went
you don't
over
stink.
buying cars. Where's some
Shower,
fucking deodorant?
wear deodorant, brush your teeth.
That's not even. Dan hit me up the other day. He was like, "Yo, you're so lucky you didn't come today." There was this one Pokemon player that was just. He said he walked by. You know that SpongeBob meme where they're like, "My eyes,"
and then with the logos.
Yep.
Or use that to your advantage. Never shower, never brush teeth, never do anything. Make your opponents misplay because you smell bad.
Don't do that. Have some decency. Have some personal hygiene, please. We are card game players, but we are also regular people. We need to take care of ourselves, please.
No, I would honestly just say like keep a good attitude. You're gonna win some games.
You're gonna win some.
Gonna lose a lot of games. When I first started playing Digimon, even though I was an experienced player, I think it took me a full set before I even won my first locals. It took a while. I mean, I was playing some not good decks because I'm an asshole, but it took a bit.
But he was having fun while he was doing
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely.
That's the thing you drive home at the end of the day. If you're not having fun, then why are you doing it?
I was playing Greymon Tribal when it was bad. And it was a Lord Nightmon meta. And it was a time to be alive. And I don't think I won my first locals until PT6. So
you need to play the game to have fun. Mario recently made a video. If you don't know Mario's Gaming World, he recently made a video talking about burnout. And Dan and I have definitely had our periods of burnout. Dan's talked about it on previous pods. I've talked about it. I guess I'll also say this. As you start getting into more competitive play, it's easy to be like, oh man, this new card is great. I can't wait to start theory building with it. And then you do start theory building with it. And then you actually start playing it on like Project Drazel. It's easy to do that, but it's also easy to lead yourself to burnout when that happens because you have already played the new set before the new set dropped. That's why as much as I love seeing card reveals, I love talking about it. I like thinking about things, but I don't put too much depth into any of it. And I damn sure don't touch those cards until they're physically in my hand, because then I have taken out all of the fun of a new format for me. I have all these BT21 cards and I can't wait to build Galactic and Medusa and Appmon and Gaiamon, Gaiomon, is the promo. And I wouldn't have had the excitement to play those decks if I was out here testing from fucking a month ago. I'm like, all right, well, I already know what to play. So, I mean, I've already been playing these decks. I don't think I want to play any of them anymore. It's like, what do I play now? And when the formats are longer, I find enjoyment in playing absolute fucking jank.
Yeah, after a few weeks of playing a good deck, I'm like, all right, that was fun, but I need something bad.
I need something that is going to make me regret my decisions.
Absolutely. I remember in BT9, I played Melga, won a locals with it, and I was like, this deck's too good. I don't ever want to play it again. I didn't touch it for months.
He still hasn't.
Yeah, I do still have Max Rarity in a box over there somewhere, just chilling.
Yeah, I've come up with some fantastic fucking jank ideas in the absence of new cards. And I prefer that to actually playing the new cards because there's more enjoyment for me in like, that's why I'm not a fan of rotation, but I enjoy an unlimited card pool because I like going back and looking at random shit and be like, can I make this work? Like, what's it called? Marvin's Machines. Nothing in that deck is like too old, I don't think. But if we had rotation, I'm sure some of my cards that I do play there would have been rotated out, or at least at some point. And I like that I can keep building that jank fucking deck that is not going to be good, but is going to be fun for me. Basically, every set that I get Cyborg and Machine support, because that's what that deck is. It's just busted Cyborgs and Machines. Once we get a new low end, we out there. But all we need is a fucking Liberator Pro tag with a fucking Cyborg bottom end. Well, I guess we have Altea because we haven't busy, but it's not enough. We need more. And I like that. I enjoy the jank side of things. It's where I find the enjoyment in playing card games, especially with friends. Especially with friends. What else we got? I don't know how long we've been recording for.
I don't know either because someone here accidentally ended the pod.
Bro, I tried looking back for the fucking to see how long the previous session was, but they're not telling me that. So I'm kind of just winging it.
He said I'm kind of just winging it.
We were at least a half hour in. So we are at least an hour and 6 in the pod. So what else we got? I mean, we don't have to go for the full.
Truthfully, I really don't know how long we've been yapping already. I'm trying to do the math in my head. We ended the other podcast around 10 p.m.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Maybe we were recording for an hour and a half. I don't know. Do I have anything else to tell newer players?
Bring snacks. Unless your locals has snacks.
Yeah. If you're one of those locals, I'm jealous. We have snacks, but I went to Top Deck Games in New Jersey. Bro, they don't just have snacks. They got snacks.
I respect it. Yeah, bring some snacks, man. Because sometimes, depending on how big your locals is, you're there for a couple hours. You're gonna get hungry. Also, be respectable. Don't be munching and eating over people's cards and making the play mats all yucky and shit.
Yeah,
but bring some snacks. Or conversely, make friends with people, going on some pizza or something.
Yep.
Shit, I used to love just getting the good showing up on a day that there wasn't locals or something, just hanging out with the guys and ordering food and playing games. The best. What else?
Don't be afraid to ask questions. I know it's scary. I've been there. If you don't understand what your opponent's doing, if they're just let me paint you the picture. They're sitting there with their deck and they're just be like, can you explain what you're doing? Just ask them. Because players do have a tendency to expect you to know what their deck does. And while that is true in competitive play, I completely expect my opponent to know what my deck does. I still have the common courtesy to say, all right, so I'm going to draw, I'm going to hatch, I'm going to unsuspend because unsuspend phases first. Draw and hatch. Now I'm going to Digivolve into Agumon. And then, all right, I'm going to play physical training. I'm gonna look at my top 2. I'm gonna take so-and-so card. I still announce that stuff because I don't want any discrepancies to my opponent, especially most times I'm playing over webcam, but I still do that shit in person as well. Unless I'm playing against Dan or Mike, in which I just shut the fuck up and I do my play and then the turn passes over to them and they're doing shit. And then I start taking my turn because I already know what they're gonna do, but that's just us being assholes.
True.
When I'm playing with most people, I am announcing my plays. It is common courtesy. Some people are assholes. So also, it is okay to stop someone and ask them.
With that being said,
what are you doing?
When you sit down, say, hey, I just started playing, just so you know. So, if I do something wrong.
It's completely fine.
Just let them know. Hey, I'm a new player. I just started playing. If I did something wrong or I'm going through the phases, just let me know and help me out. It's the locals. I don't think that if someone at your locals is a dickhead and they're like, you didn't You forgot to do this. You forgot, like, bro, just slap dick.
You forgot to draw for turn. You don't get to draw now. First of all, yes, they do still get to draw. It's a mandatory effect. So you can tell them to fuck the right off for that one. But
yeah,
but rulings are a whole other thing.
Don't get bullied by the asshole at the shop who's just mad because he's just mad he's an asshole. The world. Yeah, I don't know. I'm usually that asshole, but for different reasons.
Yeah, I mean, I always like when I'm playing against a newer player because they're seeing I play. I don't play like, how do I put this? I play meta, but I'm not playing like, I don't think I've ever really played like, I think the one time I played top of the meta, like straight best I can format, was playing Beelzemon and then Anubis. Outside of that, I've always been playing some like either still meta, but lesser of the meta or rogue shit. So I always like when I'm like, all right, cool. I'm sorry. You're about to get fucked by whatever bullshit it is that I'm playing. Like the one time I was playing this fucking bullshit ass yellow waifu deck that consisted of Venusmon, BT5 Sakuyamon, and Sakuyamon maid mode. And I was like, I don't think I played against anybody new, but I was playing it. I'm like, yeah, y'all ain't seen this shit before. I would have won a store regionals with that shit too. Sorry, a store championship with that shit too if it wasn't for Obi's bum ass going so damn slow. Sorry. Obi's not a new player. Obi's a player at my locals, and he's not a new player. But I'm take way too damn long. And Obi, if you listen to this shit, just know that you take way too motherfucking damn long. You playing Red Hybrid, G. Speed the fuck up. Yeah. That being said, if you're a new player, I have all the leniency in the world for you. I am, or used to be, I'm not a certified judge anymore, but when I was, and they still refer, I would also be lenient with like time extensions. You know, generally it's 50 minutes to a match, but we're at locals. If I know that you're playing somebody new, I'm not going to come and be like, all right, guys, it's 50 minutes. Like, you got to wrap this shit up because that's not helping anybody. It's not helping anybody get better. I just want you guys to play the game and have fun. I'm going to be like, all right, I mean, take an extra 10, 15 minutes. We all can wait. It's no big deal. You know, obviously I don't want you sitting there for fucking 2 hours playing your match, but I've been on the opposite end of it as well, playing against a new player. And I'm like, I know I took up maybe like, if we had a chess timer, I would still have about 30 minutes on my clock.
I've always, dude, I think about chess timers all the time, bro. I know it's definitely not like an idealistic way to play the game, but I'm always like, I wish I had a fucking chess timer.
Can you imagine though, like you're playing against Galaxy players? Let me tell you how I
bro, that's such a good example of why we should have chess timers, bro. I'm just saying.
This is me when I'm playing against a Galaxy player. It's not my turn. I literally yawned the one time. I was like, oh shit, I heard myself in the echo. I was like, I didn't mean to yawn that loud.
That's funny.
Literally, I was sitting there and he's like, I'm going to digivolve and then I'm going to regress. I'm going to digivolve and I'm going to do this. And I'm 30-second thinking, I'm going to digivolve again. Like,
I'm playing RuneScape in the background at this point.
Yeah, right. This is some fucking WWE shit. I'm like, I ain't got time for this shit, G. But if you're a newer player, like I have all the leniency in the world for you if you let me know. And just know that some people are like me. Like I have leniency for new players. But if you don't tell me you're new, I might just be an asshole, right? I might just be like, all right, G, you got to speed up. Or you can't do that because I don't know. I'm expecting you to know. But if you give me the heads up, I know to turn off the asshole switch. So, you know, full disclosure. I don't really have any other tips. I think that about encompasses everything for a newer player jumping into Digimon for the first time, jumping into locals, and everything that they should need. Like this is their starter pack, so to say.
Yeah, I think a lot of good stuff. I mean, yeah.
So with that being said, if you guys have any comments for newer players, let them know in the comments down below. Let them know things that we didn't mention that you think they should know. Because just remember, we were all new players at some point, and it can be tough out there.
Yeah, maybe you disagree with some of the stuff we said. And in that case, you're wrong and I hate you.
Yeah, I was gonna say you shouldn't because we're right and you're wrong, but
Yeah.
sorry, that's
Joking.
that's
That's
kayfabe.
joking. We're
That's
joking. We're joking.
us being heels. I mean, I think I have to be a heel for our upcoming show.
Oh my God, this fucking wrestling shit, bro. Leave me out of it. For fuck's sake, bro.
What are you talking about? You about to be a commentator tomorrow night. You better put on your wrestling hat.
You ruined one of my group chats by just changing it to a wrestling group chat. I can't even fucking read that shit anymore, dude.
For full disclosure, that group chat is called Faces, Heels, and Mike.
Yeah. Emphasis on the and Mike part.
Hey, for what it's worth, it used to be called, what was it? It was Card Game Rejects, and then it was fucking like One Piece Nerds and Dan.
Yeah.
So shit. Anyways, moral of all of this, find good people to hang out with. Like good vibes all the way. If you're not getting good vibes, it's not for you, Chief. It's not for you. Join our Discord because we got good vibes there. Anyways, that is it for today's episode of DigiPod, the digital podcast. So thank you guys for listening to the Mike and Varney show. Until we talk to you guys the next time.
Peace, guys.
Peace
Thank
out.
you.